There's a specific kind of stress that doesn't show up on spreadsheets. It's not panic. It's not desperation. It's that quiet, persistent feeling that you're behind, even though, objectively, you shouldn't be. You went to school. You avoided the obvious mistakes. You didn't blow your money on dumb stuff. And yet, you still hesitate before spending. You still refresh your bank app more often than you'd like. You still feel like one bad month would knock you off balance. Not broke, just exposed. What makes it worse is that you can't talk about it. Because when you try, people say things like, "You're doing fine." Others have it way worse. "You're overthinking." And maybe you are. But the feeling doesn't go away. Here's the part no one warns smart people about. Being intelligent doesn't make money easier. In many cases, it makes it heavier. Because you see more risks. You understand more scenarios. You know how fragile things actually are. So today, we're not talking about budgets or investing tips. We're talking about why smart people, capable people, still feel financially behind. And why that feeling has almost nothing to do with income. And everything to do with identity, structure, and control. And once you see the mismatch, it's uncomfortable. But it's also freeing. Core idea, for one, intelligence creates awareness, not safety. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Smart people don't feel behind because they're failing. They feel behind because they're aware. Awareness without insulation creates anxiety. You understand inflation. You understand layoffs. You understand that one medical issue, one bad timing moment, one economic shift can undo years of progress. So even when you're doing well, your nervous system doesn't relax because you know how quickly well can turn into tight. Here's what happens psychologically. When you don't have enough margin, your brain stays in defensive mode. Not emergency mode, defensive mode. That's worse. Emergency mode is loud. Defensive mode is constant. It's the background hum of, maybe I shouldn't. Let me double check. I'll wait just in case. And smart people are excellent at justifying this state. They call it being responsible. They call it being realistic. They call it being disciplined. But deep down, it's something else. It's a lack of financial shock absorption. If your life depends on everything going right, your intelligence will make sure you notice that. Here's a question most people avoid. If your income paused for 90 days, not ended, just paused, would your stress spike or stay manageable? That answer explains why you feel behind more accurately than your salary ever could. And this is only the first layer. Core idea number 2, you're optimizing the wrong metric. Most smart people think they're optimizing for wealth. They're not. They're optimizing for performance. Performance looks good. Performance gets praised. Performance keeps you socially aligned. Good job. Good lifestyle. Good trajectory. But performance money is fragile money. It depends on continuous effort, predictable income, stable conditions, which life has never promised. Here's the mismatch. You can perform well financially while still being structurally weak. That's why people with solid incomes still feel behind. Because they're running, not building. Every month resets the game. Paycheck arrives. Bills go out. Lifestyle maintains. Progress feels theoretical. And smart people are especially good at surviving in this loop. They adapt. They optimize. They cope. But coping isn't control. And control is what your brain actually wants. Ask yourself this slowly. Are you building something that continues? Or something that requires constant renewal? Because if the system collapses when you stop pushing, you don't own it. It owns you. That's the quiet tension you feel when everything looks fine. And it gets worse. Core idea number 3, lifestyle inflation isn't the villain. Exposure is. Let's clear something up. Spending more as you earn more isn't immoral. It's not even irresponsible. The real problem is timing. Most people upgrade comfort before upgrading resilience. They improve their lifestyle while their financial foundation is still thin. So income goes up, but fragility goes with it. Now your fixed costs are higher. Your obligations are heavier. Your margin is thinner, which means every decision carries more weight. That's why smart people with decent incomes still feel anxious. They didn't do anything wrong. They just expanded before insulating. And once that happens, going backward feels painful. So instead, they hold the tension. They tell themselves, this is just how adulthood feels. Everyone's stressed. I'll feel better once I earn more. But more income without more control just scales the problem. You don't feel behind because you want luxury. You feel behind because your life requires consistency to survive. And consistency is fragile. Here's a pause and think moment. If your expenses quietly kept running, rent, subscriptions, insurance, commitments, how long could your money run without you? That gap between motion and safety, is where anxiety lives, and smart people feel it early. Core idea. 4. Identity is doing the heavy lifting, and it's exhausting. This is where things get personal. For many smart people, their identity is their primary asset. They are the reliable one, the capable one, the problem solver. And that works until it doesn't, because identity doesn't compound. It tires. If your financial stability depends on you showing up, you performing, you being sharp, then rest feels risky. You can't fully relax. You can't fully disconnect. You can't fully say no. And that's why smart people feel behind even when they're progressing. Because subconsciously they know, if I slow down, everything slows down. That's not wealth. That's responsibility wearing a nice jacket. Let's make this uncomfortable on purpose. If your job title disappeared tomorrow, but your bank balance stayed the same, would you feel calm or exposed? Most people don't answer that honestly, but your body already knows. And this realization usually lands like a quiet punch, because it means your money isn't carrying its share of the load. You are. Here's the line most people don't cross. If you stopped being exceptional for 6 months, would your finances punish you? If the answer is yes, that's not ambition. That's fragility. And noticing it doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're waking up. Because once you see this, the game changes. Core idea number 5, control feels better than growth, but growth gets all the attention. Let's talk about something that rarely makes headlines. Growth is exciting. Control is calming. And calm is addictive. The people who feel relaxed around money aren't always the highest earners. They're the least exposed. They've shortened the distance between something goes wrong and I'm still fine. That distance matters more than net worth early on. Savings that buy time. Investments that don't require daily attention. Low fixed costs that create breathing room. These aren't flashy. They don't signal success, but they do something powerful. They quiet the brain. And when the brain is quiet, decision-making improves. You stop reacting. You start choosing. Most smart people skip this stage. They chase optimization instead. Better returns, better strategies, better timing. But optimization without stability is just stress with spreadsheets, and stress is expensive. Core idea number 6, why doing the right things still feels wrong. Here's where frustration builds. You save a bit, you invest a bit, you stay disciplined. So why doesn't it feel better? Because partial systems create partial relief. A small emergency fund reduces panic, not anxiety. A small portfolio creates hope, not confidence. Your brain wants redundancy. It wants to know that if one thing breaks, another holds. When everything is barely sufficient, nothing feels secure. This is why people with one income stream, one primary account, one fragile plan, feel perpetually behind, even if that plan is smart. Smart plans fail without margin. And margin is boring until it saves you. Core idea number 7. Time is the real asset you're missing. Let's zoom out. Money isn't the end goal. Time is. Time to think. Time to choose. Time to wait. Smart people feel behind because they don't own enough time yet. Their money moves in sync with the calendar. Rent due. Bills due. Paycheck due. That rhythm keeps your nervous system alert. Wealth breaks that rhythm. Not all at once, gradually. When your money buys time, anxiety fades. Not because life is easy, but because life isn't urgent. Urgency is what drains you. And urgency is a structural issue, not a motivational one. So here's the reframe that changes everything. Feeling behind is not a sign to hustle harder. It's a signal to rebalance control. You don't need to earn twice as much. You don't need to chase every opportunity. You don't need perfect strategies. You need money that works without supervision. You need systems that absorb mistakes. You need buffers that reduce dependence. You need progress that continues when motivation dips. This is why some people invest for years and still never feel free. They invested money, but never built insulation. They optimized returns, but never reduced exposure. And so the anxiety stayed. Real progress feels quieter than people expect. Less urgency, less comparison, less mental noise, more patience, more leverage, more choice. If this video made you slightly uncomfortable, that's good. It means you noticed the mismatch. And if it made you feel calm, even better, because clarity does that. The next logical step isn't another tip. It's understanding why most people invest, but few actually build wealth. That's where this conversation naturally goes next. Not louder, not faster, just sturdier. I'll see you there.